Hi everyone, it's Stephanie and welcome back to my channel. Today, slightly late in the year, I want to talk about the 20 books that I want to read in 2020. And all of these books are backlist books. These are ones that I definitely want or need to get to this year. But let's just jump right in. So the first book I want to read is City of Brass by S.A. Chakraborty. This is set in 18th century Cairo, and it follows the story of Nari, who is a con woman who I think wants to become a doctor. And so in order to raise money for this, she cons people, tells them what they want to hear. And one day she accidentally unleashes a djinn. And one day Nari and the djinn are forced to flee Cairo, and they go to the City of Brass, Davabad, and magic and shenanigans go from there. But I have wanted to read this book since I heard about it. I love any kind of Middle Eastern, Persian-inspired book or fantasy novel, and this cover is just stunning. The next book I want to read is The Black Prism by Brent Weeks. This is the first book in the Lightbringer series. This follows the story of Guile, and he is a high priest and emperor in this world. One day he discovers that he has a son, and he has to decide what lengths he wants to go to protect his secrets that could potentially tear this world apart. And I really don't know much else about this book. I know that the magic system is based on color, which sounds so fascinating to me. So I'm excited to check this out, and a lot of people have been recommending it to me. The next book I want to read is The Lies of Locke Lamora by Scott Lynch. This is the first book in the Gentleman Bastard series, and I have actually started reading this. I'm about 2/3 of the way through. And this follows the Gentleman Bastards, mainly Locke Lamora and his best friend Jean, and they are orphans who are taken in by this man who teaches them how to be thieves and gentlemen and how to basically fit in any situation, languages, all of that. And Locke is known as one of the best con men in his world. And one day he gets caught up in a bloody coup between two very powerful people. And he has to decide what side he's on. And he wants to defeat these people or die trying. What do you want? Are you happy now? Little Miss Diva. You want to say hi to your fans? Yeah, you're cute. Ma'am, can I do my video, please? The next book I want to read is Black Leopard, Red Wolf by Marlon James. I don't know too much about this, and I think I want to go into it kind of blind because I've heard mixed reviews. So I want to go in not really having any expectations of what's going to happen. I do know that it's based on African history and mythology, which sounds really cool. The cover's gorgeous. And I think it'll be a really awesome book. The author has won the Man Booker Prize, so he obviously is a fantastic writer, so I'm really interested to see how I like this. The next book I want to read, book number 5, is A Reaper at the Gates by Saba Tahir. This is the third book in the Ember and the Ashes quartet. I absolutely adored An Ember in the Ashes and A Torch in the Night. A Torch Against the Night. One of those. But I've given them 5 out of 5 stars. Her writing is phenomenal. An Ember, I won't go into this one because it's the third book, but An Ember in the Ashes basically is set in a world inspired by ancient Rome, and it's very cruel and dark, and we follow Laia, who is a slave, and Elias, who is a soldier, and through these circumstances they get thrown together. They both just want to be free of the tyranny of their world, so they team up to try to accomplish this goal. Not a great synopsis, but a phenomenal book. Okay, and book 6 is A Darker Shade of Magic by V.E. Schwab, or Victoria Schwab. I have only read her middle grade books, so I am very excited to read her adult novels. I don't know too much about this, except that it is set in the world with 4 Londons. I think it's red, white, black, and gray London, I believe. And no one can travel between these Londons except for very few people, one of which is, I believe, Kell. One of these Londons is just like ours, one of these is dark and desolate, and so on. And Kell is an ambassador between these Londons, but he's also a smuggler. So in the process, he meets Delilah Bard, who is a cut purse. And together they go on a mission to save these Londons. Number 7 is seriously shameful because I've had this since it came out, I believe at the end of 2018. Yes, at the end of 2018, and I still have not read it because I'm still a little salty about what happened at the end of the previous book. But this book is Queen of Air and Darkness by Cassandra Clare. This is the last book in the Dark Artifices series, and I won't go into this because it'll spoil a lot. But it basically follows shadow hunters who are people who can fight demons, and some of whom have abilities, and in this world there are werewolves and vampires and fae and all sorts of magic, and such a cool, rich atmosphere. And Cassandra Clare's books are always phenomenal, and her writing is really easy and accessible, and you just grow to absolutely adore the characters. And I know this book is going to make me sob, which is also probably why I've been putting it off, but I look forward to finishing it. Number 8. This is for you, Cheyenne. I want to read Red Sister by Mark Lawrence. She has been trying to get me to read this since we became friends, and I just haven't yet. And I don't know too much about this, except that it follows nun assassins. The main character's name is Nona, and this series has been highly praised. Like, I have not heard a negative review about this series, so I am really excited to get into it. But book number 9 is Daughter of the Forest by Juliette Merlier. She is a New Zealand author, and I have heard nothing but wonderful things about Juliette Merlier, and I have yet to pick up one of her books. But I believe this is a retelling of some sort, and I cannot remember which tale it is retelling. But it's set in a world called Seven Waters. There is now an invader who is a sorceress, and she's evil. And the sorceress captures a lord and his 6 sons, but she can't enchant the lord's daughter. And so because of that, she binds or curses the 6 sons with a spell that only the daughter can lift. And if she fails at this quest, they all die. So it sounds really exciting and really captivating, and I am so excited to get into this. Okay, and book number 10 is one I am super excited about, and it is by someone who has become one of my all-time favorite authors, and that is Warbreaker by Brandon Sanderson. Number 1, this is the UK cover, and they are so much better than the American covers. Like, This is gorgeous. Like, the camera doesn't do it justice. This follows two sisters, and they are princesses, and one of them is being forced to marry a lesser god. And because someone is trying to undo their past mistakes, I believe the two sisters may swap places or they try to save each other. I'm not 100% sure. But the magic system in this book is called biochromatic magic, a power based on an essence known as breath, which can only be collected 1 unit at a time from individual people. By using breath and drawing upon the color in everyday objects, all manner of miracles and mischief can be performed. So I cannot wait to get into this. This is a standalone. It's not part of a series. And I've been told that I need to read this before I read Way of Kings. Speaking of, number 11 is Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson. I know absolutely nothing about the plot of this book except that it is full of amazing characters with phenomenal backstories. It's 1,000 pages long, for real. And this is book 1 of the Stormlight Archive, and I think this is his highest rated series he's ever written. And the average rating on Goodreads right now is, I think, 4.56 out of 5 stars. So I am super jazzed to jump into this thick boy. And the next book, number 12, is The Eye of the World by Robert Jordan. This is the first book in the Wheel of Time series. I've actually already read this and absolutely adored it. 5 out of 5 stars. And I will link my book review for this so that you can get more of my in-depth thoughts. The next book I want to read is The Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss. Anytime you look up adult fantasy recommendations or best fantasy, this book always seems to be on that list. And this follows the story of Kvothe. At the beginning of this book, it is later on in Kvothe's life, and this, I think, storyteller comes to the inn where he's at and wants to get his life story. And Kvothe agrees, but he agrees only for 3 days. So I think this is the first day, and they go through the earlier parts of Kvothe's life. I've heard you either love Kvothe or hate him. I'm hoping I'll be the former. But I've also heard that Rothfuss's writing is really poetic and beautiful, so I think I will enjoy this. Number 14 is The King of Crows by Leopard. This is the final book in the Diviners Quartet, and I won't go into what this is about because it will spoil everything, but The Diviners is a YA fantasy series, paranormal fantasy series, and it follows multiple characters who are diviners, who are people who have special powers or extra special sensitivities. And there are murder mysteries to be solved, monsters, and all this paranormal activity set in 1920s New York with all the flappers and prohibition, and the atmosphere and the world is just so phenomenal. The audiobooks are amazing, and I know I'm gonna love this, and I know it's gonna destroy me, and I am so ready for it. Number 15 is Stormfront by Jim Butcher. This is the first book in the Dresden Files series, and I've actually already read this and enjoyed it, and it follows the adventures of Harry Dresden, who is a wizard PI in Chicago, and he, in each book, comes across some kind of monster or villain that needs to be defeated, and he barely gets through, but he does it, and you just root for him and love him, and every book in the series that I've read has just gotten better. So I'm really excited to continue the series throughout 2020. Number 16 is We Hunt the Flame by Hafsa Faisal. This follows the story of Zafira and Nasir, Zafira lives in an empire with the Sultan on one part of this world. And in the world that she lives in, it's very misogynistic, and women are viewed as not being able to do anything. But Zafira, her secret is that she can go into this forest that no one else can navigate, and she has become infamous as the hunter, but people don't know that it's a woman. If she's exposed, it will be very, very bad for her. And Nasir is a sultan's son, and he has to be very stoic and manly, and if he shows any kind of compassion, his father will punish him. War is brewing, and so Zafira goes on a quest to find this artifact that can restore magic to her world, and Nasir is sent on the same mission by his father, and somehow they end up together and things go from there. And that synopsis was horrible, and I am so sorry, but I think this will be really good. Book number 17 is The Rage of Dragons by Evan Winter. And this is a debut novel that has gotten so much hype by so many of my favorite YouTubers. And it is a story of revenge and violence. And it follows this swordsman, and he discovers that he has the ability or the power to help change the world that he lives in. And the thing is that the cost to do that is very high, so he battles with that, and that's really all I know. And I'm so excited to read it. I'm really trying not to hype myself up too much, but I think it'll be phenomenal. And I've watched some interviews with the author, and he seems like such an awesome person and very eloquent and smart. And he actually wrote this for his son, which is so endearing to me, so I'm really excited to read it. And number 18 is The Shadow of What Was Lost by James Islington. This thing's huge. It's almost as big as my face. And this follows the story of Davian, and he is suffering the consequences of a war that was lost before he was even born. And he one day discovers that he can wield this forbidden power, and in doing so, he sets in motion a chain of events that will change everything. A young man whose fate is intertwined with Davian suddenly wakes up in a forest with no memory of who he is, and in the north, this enemy is starting to rise. And this just sounds like such a cool premise, and I think it'll be awesome. Number 19 is The Assassin's Apprentice by Robin Hobb. This is the first book in the Farseer trilogy. This follows the story of a bastard son named Fitzchivalry Farseer, and he is being raised by the king's fool, someone that the king knew. It turns out that he has this unusual affinity or power with animals, and that is not a good thing in this world. And as he grows older, he gets trained as an assassin in order to be useful to the crown. His tutor is actually trying to kill him because he is allied to another political faction. I'm excited to read it. I'm 2 chapters in, and I'm liking it so far, and we'll just see how it goes. And number 20, last but not least, is Kings of the Wild by Nicholas Ames. And I actually just finished this book a few days ago. I loved it. I'm definitely going to do a book review on this. Basically, this follows the story of Clay Cooper, and he is older, like in his 40s, later on in life, but back in the day, he and his band of mercenaries were one of the most well-known bands that could kill monsters and fight in wars and protect their world. And later on in life, the band has broken up, gone on with their lives, and one of the band members, Gabriel, comes to Clay because he wants his help, because his daughter has gone on to fight this war with this very intimidating evil horde, and Gabe wants to go and get her and save her because he thinks that she's in over her head. So they get the band back together and shenanigans ensue, and this book is so phenomenal. It's laugh out loud funny on one page and a tearjerker on the next page, and you just get to know and love the characters, and it feels like a D&D campaign mixed with like classic rock. It's got that like 70s rock band vibe to it, and I absolutely adored it, and I'm really excited to read the next one. But that is my 20 books. Just to give you an idea of how many pages this is, I have them stacked up by my desk, and the stack is as tall as my desk. So I may regret this decision farther in the year, but it's okay. If you stuck around with me this long, you are an angel. And have you read any of these books? If so, let me know. Or what do you think I should get to next? I would love to talk to you guys in the comments below. As always, if you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and click the subscribe button. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.